Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to see everybody here. So this is the time of the service after that introduction into what we do. With every thought is a prayer. So we're taught to pray without ceasing. It's an ancient teaching that we can pray. We can actually allow the prayer to pray us. So as we go into meditation and stillness for a few moments, I'd like for you to think about that. Hold that in your awareness. Just let it be with you for a minute. Pray without ceasing. Every moment can be a prayer. So now get comfortable in your seat if you haven't already done so. Fill the chairs or your couch if you're at home supporting you. Resting on your sitting bones to just fully support your body. And as you begin to still your body and your mind, just let go of the thoughts for a moment. Let go of the thoughts. Let go of the concerns, of the cares. And be aware of your body. Be aware that your body is still. You have a body and you're choosing not to move it while we do this meditation. And just rest. Deep breath in as you begin to move your awareness throughout your body. Relax your shoulders. Relax the muscles in your face. And be still. Imagine, if you will, that you're standing behind a waterfall. Just a beautiful waterfall falling down in front of you. You're behind it and you're falling down and it's falling down in front of you. So as we begin this meditation, imagine that this stream of water in front of you is the stream of your thoughts, the stream of your consciousness flowing in front of you, and you're standing behind it, looking at it, being aware of those thoughts as they flow down from the waterfall. This is mindful meditation. Just to be aware, to observe, to watch the stream of your conscious thoughts as they drift by. So many times, most of those thoughts will be just about me. Me thoughts. Just be aware. Nothing to judge, nothing to stop. Just be aware of them. So as you sit here in this quiet space for a few moments, and begin to still your mind even further by focusing on your breath. It's all about the breath. Return your awareness to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Be conscious of the breathing in and that you're breathing out. How does that flow into your body? How do you feel that in your body? Breathing in, breathing out. So now as we sit still for a few moments in the silence, just let go of any thoughts, whatever's in the environment, just let it go for just a few moments and focus on the breath. Every time you let go of the thought or what's in your environment, every time you come back to the breath, that's the practice of meditation. Let it go. Peace, be still and know that I am. As we rest in the silence for just a few moments in the silence. So now, ever so gently, take a deep breath in. Feel this space of peace that we gain when we go within our own consciousness, when we move within, from the outer to the within. We live from the within out. So as we go within, we know there's peace, surrounded by peace, immersed in peace, enmeshed in peace. Nothing but peace. We leave the chaos of the outer world and rest in the peace that it lives and moves and has being in us. Peace, calm, pure, undisturbed peace. So again, take another deep breath and ever so gently begin to move your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes if that's comfortable. Roll your shoulders. And then when you're ready, ever so slowly, you can open your eyes. Profess my own values and beliefs without attacking or judging others. That is a mouthful. That is quite a challenge, isn't it? So as Rose gave the intro for this, I found a saying from the Tao. He who controls others may be powerful. He who has mastered himself is mightier still. He who has mastered himself is mightier still. I believe that's our purpose. That's why we're here. And yes, it is very difficult to not judge others for their beliefs, especially when we're so passionate about our own. And I had an opportunity to do that yesterday. I was at a wedding for my great-granddaughter's dad. Her daddy was at a wedding, and they were married. Not to my granddaughter. Families are complicated these days, and it's getting even more. She's now pregnant by somebody. It's complicated. Anyhow, we were in the field, and there was a platform set up, and it was beautiful. I mean, the wedding, her dress, Lindsay's dress, and Tim was so beautiful, and Charlotte Grace was the flower girl. So it was so perfect and so beautiful. And on the stage, just out in a small pasture kind of area, was a small platform, and the minister was up there, and the minister was Tim's grandfather. He's a Church of God minister, and he was going to do the service. Well, the only thing on the stage, except the minister, was a wooden cross. It had a wooden cross. I couldn't help but judge that. I'm sorry. I had a little judgment. I got over it real quick. It passed. But that's the kind of thing that we're faced with these days. How do you respond to something like that? And the service was very traditional, very, and again to me it was shame-filled a little bit. And that's what so how do we navigate that? How do we walk through that when we have different beliefs? How do we walk through that? So how do we break the habits of expecting others to agree with? I don't expect them to believe with me. As a matter of fact, I know I've talked to Tim and Lindsay. They don't believe that way, but the grandfather did. So I think that's where it came from mostly. But so what's the first skill we need to master to avoid attacking and demanding others and the judging? What's the first skill? So in her book that we're studying, and I ordered some of these this week. We are out of them. They'll be here probably Monday or Tuesday. So if you want some, because we're going to do this series of talks probably through June. So I'll have a few more of those next week if you want one. So in her book, she suggests that the first thing we have to do, it's really a two-phase process, two-step. We have to know and profess our own values. And the second phase is to avoid attacking and judging others. So the first step is to know our own values. Be clear about it. And this is not proselytizing. It's sharing. It's walking our talk, living our truth. we gain a whole lot more by walking the talk rather than by demanding or attacking others to believe like we do. So that's all easy peasy, right? Piece of cake? Well, it wasn't for me yesterday at the wedding. It popped up just like that. I grew up in a very fundamentalist church, very fundamentalist, and so that's a little bit of a trigger, an old trigger that came to me. I didn't even my wife didn't even kick me under the table or anything because I just kept quiet and didn't say anything. But again, those kind of things are going to happen. How do we walk through this plane without attacking and judging others? Well, again, the first task, I think, as Martha suggests, is to know your own belief. Know your own belief, your values and belief. So have you ever sat down and clearly defined what your beliefs and values are, either in writing or either on a postcard? If you've done classes here at Unity, that's what we do. We've done a lot of that. If not, you might want to try the exercise of defining what you believe. Part of the ministerial program that I've gone through the last 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, is this idea of what do I really believe. The ministers, you would hope, would have a pretty clear idea of that if we're going to be a minister, and share with you our beliefs, our values and beliefs. So one of the processes that they guide us through is called writing your own credo. That sounds like a creed. It sort of is, but a credo is the personal statement of what I believe. A creed, like the Nicene Creed or the Apostles' Creed, even in the definition, it's a dogma or a statement from a religious organization, and that's a creed. Credo is your own personal belief. So I've actually feel like I've been working on this for 30 years. I've been in Unity for over 30 years, and I'm not done yet. I still think I need work. There's still things I want to write down and redefine. So I wrote and submitted my credo as part of the ministerial program. It was an executive summary, kind of what I put, and it was 20-something pages. I'd written 50 pages, as part of the study to really know and practice and to learn to know what I believe. What do I believe? Why am I here? That's the questions. Why am I here? And there's a whole series of questions about that. So I pulled that out. I finished it not quite 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And I want to refocus on the process of redefining what I believe. There's some things I need to correct if I'm going to have it down in writing. And it's just for me. It's not. You're not going to have to submit that to me. You're not going to get graded. So, but it's a process for you. It can be one sentence. It could be a paragraph. You can go online and there's a whole list of things that you can do to help you find how to write your own credo. A belief statement. If credo doesn't sound or is a trigger, it can be a belief statement. And again, the creed typically refers to a religious set of beliefs, while credo is a personal belief statement. So in 1921, Charles Fillmore wrote and published in Unity magazine 32 statements of faith. It was Unity's credo, if you will. And he was under pressure by several members in the congregation. What does Unity believe? We still ask that today. We're still going through that. So he published that in the Unity magazine, and with the 32 statements of faith, he said this, and it's a famous Unity think we know and follow Charles Fillmore, who's the co-founder of Unity. He said, quote, "We may change our minds tomorrow on some points, and if we do, we shall feel free to make the new statement of faith in harmony with the newer viewpoint. However, we are assured that there will be no change in fundamentals." And part of the fundamentals that we believe are expressed in the 5 principles. He didn't write the 5 principles, but the expressions of what is summarized for these. The 32 statements of faith that he wrote have kind of gone by the wayside, except they're pulling them back up. They're coming back up. and some of them are creating some heartburn. It's with Unity members across the denomination. And even today, there are discussions and discernment on whether Unity is, quote, Christian or not. The statement that we have on our statement of faith, if you will, or what is Unity, is Unity, this is on our website, we're progressive, positive, practical Christianity. Following the teachings of Jesus, we support any other path to know to God or to your own God. Positive, practical, progressive Christianity. Even that has some people upset. The reason for that was developed a few years ago as a way of being able to describe that our foundation is Christian, but we aren't Christian in the traditional sense. That was the idea. It's still got a lot of people hot and bothered. And I think that is because we're trying to redefine our creed, redefine our credo, redefine what we believe. So imagine for just a minute, take this trip with me. Before your birth, you were wandering the heavens as a disincarnated soul. You were immersed in the beauty and peaceful paradise and harmony of paradise. A call came in out for volunteers to incarnate in a bodily human form. There was a small blue planet in the galaxy, and it was facing experiencing crisis, and was in need of souls who were willing to incarnate into the human body to help out in time of this blue marble planet, the Earth, Earth's time of need. So you made the decision to volunteer. You next met with the Incarnation Committee to discuss whether its members, with the members, what part you wanted to play and what you wanted to do to work and play in this human form. You made a covenant at that time to do the work you agreed to do. But there was a catch. Not only were you to serve, you were also required to grow. Whoa. It was your job to increase the intensity of your light and to grow in wisdom and stature as well as to serve others. You next made a series of decisions that would perfectly situate you to be of maximum service to develop a custom-designed learning curriculum for your soul to assure its maximum learning potential. You had to decide what particular set of gifts that you were going to bring and share, and talents and abilities and gifts while you were in this human form and living on earth to the human family. The dreams and aspirations that would lead you to your destiny, to fulfill your configuration that would give you clues to your soul's purpose, earthly purpose and destiny. You had to decide a place on the earth to live, a racial and ethnic form, a region in which to reside, a social economic class that would provide you with the challenges and benefits you need in order to learn and serve. You had to decide on a spiritual tradition with its particular sets of rituals and practices that would support you. You had to decide on a gender with its attendant opportunities and challenges. A particular set of parents. We've talked about that we chose our parents. There's a model that says we choose our parents. That would provide you with their particular strengths, with qualities that you could draw upon, and with a designed set of difficulties that you would experience with them in order to learn, grow, and to prepare you for the service that you were prepared or to perform. Your siblings and your relationship to them in age, plus the companionship and the conflicts with them, that would provide you with important lessons and resources. And finally, a name that you would be called by. Once these decisions were made, you were free to incarnate. In your earthly mission, forgetting all that went on before, But with time, you would slowly but surely begin to rediscover why you are here and how wisely you chose, because every factor in your life has positioned you for the service you are to perform and has maximized your potential for learning and growth. So imagine that you came here and were incarnated for a purpose and a reason. And I think that's what we think. We believe that to be the truth. So how do we practice? How do we grow? How do we do that? How do we practice our mission, whatever it is? First of all, is why? Why are you here? Find it, discovered your why. So in this path of writing a personal credo, it surrounds the concept of self-awareness. And we practice that in unity with our meditation practice. There's so many tools and so much aid to help us do that today. And again, like I say, I've been practicing this for over 30 years. And I had a quote from Richard Bach in the MailChimp this week. Says, if you think you're through with your mission, if you're still walking around on this planet, you're not finished. So if you think you're through with your mission, we are not finished as long as you're breathing and taking space. So I believe there's more to this mission statement or this credo, this why are we here, than which sports team I like. Football, basketball, soccer, hockey. Then there's pro and college. Think about that. All those thoughts going through our head constantly. Then there's tennis, individual sports. Tennis, golf. Except who are my favorites? Who can't I stand? When you watch the sports, you start fussing because this is it becomes it's what's in front of us, and it becomes our credo, our personal statement. And I use the sports analogy, I guess because I'm a guy, but for the women, it's whatever is yours, whatever that is in front of you that draws your attention. And I think it draws our attention away from what our mission is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the sports and getting pumped about it, but is that your mission? Is that why you're here? So why do we need to change our beliefs or even write them down? Well, as I was looking at the credo that I wrote just a couple years ago, I think we're evolving. We're spiritually evolving. There's a spiritual evolution that's ongoing right now that we don't, we're in the middle of it, and it's hard to even see. Somebody asked the fish, where could you direct me to the ocean? The fish said, what's the ocean? They don't even know they're in the ocean. We don't know that we're spiritually evolving because we're in the middle of the ocean, of our ocean. So what is your spiritual evolution? How are you evolving spiritually? How is your consciousness evolving? How is your worldview evolving? So ask yourself this. Are your beliefs, have they changed since your 20s, your 40s, your 60s? I'll stop there. I won't go any further. There might be a few of us with a couple of extra decades, but you get the point. Spirit, and I don't just mean a change, not just a change in thought, but an involvement. Do you think you are evolving? Is your worldview evolving and changing? Have you reconsidered your biases? There's been a lot written these days about bias. Look at the last 4 or 5 years of racial bias that we've learned, all of us have learned about. There's books I've got a whole series of new books, Caste, White Fragility, Color of Law, whole series of books on systemic racism. What's your bias? Is that part of your mission that you came here to do? Maybe it's not. Maybe you don't have to embrace that. Do you examine your soul and your spiritual evolution on a frequent, periodic basis? So I think all of us are evolving. And how can we embrace this evolution? Personally, I believe too that the teachers teach us that meditation is the best way to start this practice. Start a practice of meditation. It can be as short as just 5 minutes. Just like I say, get behind the waterfall. Here's the water falling down. Get behind the waterfall and look at the water. Look at the stream of thoughts that are flowing. Just look at them. Just be aware of them. And then over time, just be aware. Do it 5 minutes at a time, if you can. Best place to start. There's another way to examine this. There's a metrics now that can measure not only the physical and intellectual, your IQ, but can measure emotional and spiritual IQ, if you will, or intelligence. There's a book by Cindy Wigglesworth called Spiritual Intelligence. What is your spiritual intelligence? And it can be measured. And the other way is in the Unity magazine. By the way, this is changing. They bought another organization that's going to have a lot of new material in here for health and wholeness, and so you'll see it called. I forgot the name all of a sudden. Same Unity publishers, but a lot more information. This month is Julia Cameron. Anybody know what she's noted for? Julia Cameron. She's the author of The Artist Way. So this was a practice a few years ago. It's still prevalent, where you journal 3 pages a day. You write. The writing is cathartic, and so you write. In her practice, you write 3 pages every day. I did that for a couple years, and I don't still do that. But she's got some new ideas about writing and journaling. It's a great way to start. In his writings that we've studied and we keep talking about, Michael Singer talks about the samskaras, the blockages that we put into our consciousness, that we don't address them before we store them. Thoughts, emotions, traumas, unforgiveness that we've put down into our body, and that we put them in there and they weren't healed. We hadn't released them. And so he says that no matter how what path you choose to do this, prayer, meditation, 12-step program, mental and physical therapy, emotional therapy, whatever you need to do to get these blockages out of your system is the way to move to our authentic self. So whatever we do to work on these blockages, I believe, is what will help us define our beliefs. There's another path new that I was talking to one of you this week. It's a new book that I've been studying called Myth of Normal by the guy's name is Gabor Mate. He's in Canada. He's a psychoanalyst, and he talks about the myth of normal based on the trauma that we have in our life. You can heal your life by looking at the trauma that you've had in your life. And sometimes we don't want to do that. Most of the time we don't want to do it. Michael Singer says that whatever we are storing inside, it went in with pain, possibly, probably, and it's going to come out with pain. If we're going to actually release some of these blockages, it went in with pain, it will come out with pain. So one of the big examples of this that's going on right now in our society is this idea of deconstruction. I wrote about that in the MailChimp this week, and it just seems to keep coming to me that's what we're in and it's part of this deconstructing to find your own ideas and your own beliefs. What are they? Are you still holding on to old beliefs? Do they still have a hold on you? If they work for you, this wouldn't apply. But if you think that there's something there, deconstruction is all around us. I think unity is. You just look at unity. We deconstruct the traditional Orthodox Christian views about God and about us. The kingdom of God is within. It's not something that we're waiting on. There's not a judgment day coming. It's something within. It's a deconstruction of the traditional Orthodox Christian beliefs. And that is continuing with a rapid number of people, an increasingly number of people. And in the MailChimp, I wrote all the, you can, it's endless about the number of people that are writing about deconstruction. And it's not only of our spiritual values, even our social norms. Our social norms are being deconstructed every day. Be aware of those and use that to help you define what is your true belief and values today. It's hard to be judging and attacking others when the belief and the value you have is not clear. I think if you are clear in your values, you will have no need to attack and judge. We have no need to do it. We don't need to proselytize and subject others to our beliefs. We can have our beliefs and allow them to have theirs and walk on a parallel path. I shared in the MailChimp too about it. It keeps coming to me about deconstruction of people from the Mormon faith. Whether it's evangelical like I grew up, or I know several of you have expressed that you're recovering Catholics. Whatever the path is, there's a deconstruction and there's healing. I mentioned this, the idea, so a financial advisor came and visited me. He was here visiting with family, and he came by the house to do an update and all that, just to talk. Well, one thing led to the other, and I told him my nephew was a Mormon, had joined the Mormon church. And he'd been asking me about unity, and he knew I was a minister and how that was involved in my life. And he told me that 2 years ago he and his wife left the Mormon church, been raised Mormon his whole life. He's in a process of deconstruction. He told me some of the books he's reading. Bart Ehrman is one of the ones that Bart Ehrman will give you a new perspective on the Bible and Christianity and Jesus. And he's an atheist. He's an academic and he's an atheist. Challenge your beliefs. If there's something about that, doesn't mean that you have to believe that you're an atheist. Bart Ehrman is a great author to help in this process of deconstruction. What is it you truly believe, and what is it? And then at the same time, there was a Facebook or a YouTube came out with David Archuleta. Do you remember him? He won American Idol, I'm told, several years ago. He's a young guy. He was really young. Well, he came out as gay. He's in the Mormon church. Couldn't stay in the Mormon church because of he even did the missionary thing, knocking on doors. You know how they do. And this is not talking. I've known a lot of people that are Mormons, and they are the nicest people on the planet. Very family oriented, very nice. And it seems their religion is very restrictive. We all know what that is. So David Archuleta was having to leave the Mormon church. So his mom said, "If you leave, I'm leaving." And his mom has been in the Mormon church forever. And he wrote this song. First little words were, "Bow your head, don't be bold. You'll survive by doing what you're told." That's what the religious people do to us, right? Said, "Love is earned, and we can't choose. But the more you grow, all I want is to make you proud. If I would run, would I let you down?" This is David. He wrote this for his mother, and it's called "Held Together." And then he said, his mother said to him, if I have to live without you, I don't want to live forever in someone else's heaven. So let them close the gates. Oh, that doesn't make like the way they don't make you the way you've made. Let me read that again. Oh, if they don't like the way you're made, close the gates. Then they're not any better. If paradise is pressure, we'll go to hell together. So, deconstruction, figuring out what your belief is. You don't have to proselytize it. So let's work together to create our personal credo, however how short that is, even if you do it in your mind. Another way we do that is, what does unity speak? We talk about What is unity? What is unity to you? Have an elevator speech for unity. What is unity? Have your elevator speech. What do you believe? Positive, practical, progressive Christianity or substitute spirituality, following the teachings of Jesus and affirmative prayer. That's what we are. That could be your elevator speech. Create your own credo, your personal belief. Walk our talk. Walk your talk, I'll walk my talk. And let others live life and develop and express their own values and beliefs. Namaste.